prepper. Do 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 do. Vegan prepper. Right, we are back and everything has been Tetrised onto my table. So here is a shot of the haul in case you want to just sort of pause it and like zoom in. I don't know if you can zoom in, but just pause it and look at it and then you can go about your merry business. I get it, I'm busy too. But if you'd like to stick around to see the things and then all of the random little tips and things that I talk about while I talk about the things I buy and why, go ahead and stay with us. I'm very happy that you're here. Okay, so let's just sort of work our way that way. And so in the back, I've got a gallon of organic grade A maple syrup. And then my gallon of date syrup. If you were here last month, you know I tried to order one of these date syrup bottles and I did not get it. Super bummed, but I did get it this month, so yay. Basically, the maple syrup I finally decided to go ahead and buy with Azure, even though I typically buy it with Costco, just because I was doing math on the cost, and this is actually only like maybe $1 or $2 more per bottle buying it this way versus buying it at Costco. So basically this gallon is $6 to $8 more expensive than purchasing the same amount at Costco. Why would I make such a decision? Well, I'm trying really hard to reduce my driving. And also just being able to have it all in one handy container rather than having to store 4 smaller bottles and consolidate the space. And actually, that's just the last time I priced maple syrup. So it is possible that maple syrup has increased in price at Costco enough that it's like the same price. I don't know. But basically, I just sort of made the decision to go ahead and go with this, even though technically this does not represent a cost savings, but it represents a time savings and a gas savings. So I'm okay with that. The date syrup I have talked about before. I don't know what it is about it. It seems to make everything fluffier and lighter and better. So pretty much any recipe that calls for maple syrup or even honey or whatever, like agave. So most vegans, of course, are not using honey, but agave or maple syrup, if you use date syrup instead, it gets fluffier and lighter, which is kind of funny. Now you're probably like, so why'd you still buy the maple syrup? Well, you know, we still like maple syrup. My sons love maple syrup on their pancakes and things like that. So we still use maple syrup for certain things. But for all of my baking needs and stuff, it's going to be date syrup all the way. And now, moving on, my quinoa, I've been trying to get this 25-pound bag of quinoa for like 4 months. And so I finally got it. Yay. It just sort of goes to show you, you know, keep trying. You will eventually get the thing that you want. This too represents a very slight, super slight increase in price, or it's more expensive than I can get at Costco. However, again, it's a giant thing. I don't have to think about it. I don't have to drive for it. Except for, you know, I just drove to go grab it today. But the one thing about this versus the one that I get at Costco is also the one at Costco is pre-rinsed. This one is not. So that is going to represent a little bit of an adjustment in my cooking, but it's not that big of a deal. I used regular unrinsed quinoa or unpre-rinsed quinoa for years before I ever started buying the rinsed one. So I can do it. It's fine. But it basically, the difference in price for this one over the Costco one is about 20 cents. Like it was like, no, it wasn't even 20. Sorry, not 20. It was like 2 to 3 cents a pound. So it was kind of like, it's such a small difference. And then also not having to have all of that plastic from the ones at Costco. And again, sort of a consolidation of space and all of that. So I'm happy with that. So I'm getting the quinoa. All right, now moving on. Organic whole yellow corn, 25 pounds. I am almost out of my polenta, my cornmeal, but I get specifically polenta. It's the really chunky, rough ground one, because that's the one that I personally prefer in my my cornbread, and then even like, I don't know, corn cakes or corn muffins, like every now and then when we make them, I just prefer that heartier, thicker cornmeal. As an FYI, just in case you didn't know that there's a difference, and often the difference is differentiated between cornmeal, and then a lot of times it will be called polenta, and that means that it's the rougher one, and that's the one that I like the best. But anyway, I'm almost out. So I decided that instead of buying more cornmeal, I'm going to go ahead and start actually utilizing some of these grinders I have here. I've got 2 grinders. One is manual, one is electric. And I'm going to start just grinding my own cornmeal. So I will start doing that for all of my baking and all of my cornmeal needs. I will grind myself and start building that habit into my life on something that I don't use quite as often, so that I can get used to it before I start fully going like totally grinding everything myself, like with all my wheat berries and whatnot. I have ground my wheat berries plenty of times for my bread and I like it, but it's just not my habit. The wheat berries store for 20 to 30 years. Corn is the same way, the whole corn. They store for like a ridiculously long time in their whole form, whereas flour does not. So for me personally, I feel like as long as I have access to flour, I will purchase flour. If I lose access to flour, I can rely upon my wheat berry storage. That's just sort of to make my life easier. I understand that grinding your fresh wheat is a more nutritious flour. But this is, anyway, I want to build that habit into my life and something that is not used as often, like I said. And then I can, move forward from there, grinding more stuff and hopefully, just become the best version of myself, okay? And then I also got a 25-pound bag of the whole blue corn because I could not resist. As soon as I saw it, I thought to myself, oh my goodness, blue cornmeal. And I got a vision in my head of a swirl cornbread. And I don't know if that's a thing. Has anybody ever seen that before? I want to like grind some yellow cornmeal and some blue cornmeal and then make 2 batches of my cornbread recipe, 1 yellow, 1 blue, and then put it, because my 2 batches of my cornbread recipe fits in a 9x13 pan, and I want to like swirl it almost like they do for the like vanilla chocolate cake. Is that a thing? So anyway, somebody let me know in the comments down below if you think that's even gonna work. I'm way more excited about this, I think, that I should be. Like, I should not let things this simple excite me, but I'm like super thrilled to try this out. Anyway, I can't wait. I'm also really excited that now that I've gotten these corns, because I already have pickling lime, because I bought it thinking I was gonna get into pickling. Just it's probably not really gonna happen. But Rose Red Homestead like just started doing a nixtamalization series on her channel, and I'm actually currently in the middle of the video that she posted just this morning of her and her daughter together doing nixtamalization on their corn. I'm ridiculously excited about that too, and learning how to nixtamalize my corn to create my own masa. So it's just kind of getting through the series. I will link the video down below so that you guys can go see that. Also, Rose, you have to love Rose Red Homestead. Like, what is not to love about her? But it's kind of the same thing like with the flour and the wheat and the corn versus the masa. Masa itself, that's once the corn has been nixtamalized and then it's ground very fine for creating flour tortillas and things like that. Once you have that process done, the shelf life drastically decreases. So potentially not having to even purchase my own masa and being able to do it nixtamalized myself and then making like tamales with the nixtamalized corn, the masa, is really appealing to me. That might be ignorance talking, because I don't know how much work the process is, but we're gonna try. I'm at least going to learn how, so that I have the skill in case I should ever have to rely on only my own corn stores for making various foods like that. All right, back around. So I just posted that video about changing my habits and how one habit can change everything. And we switched from canned beans to dry beans. And then I bought a whole bunch of canned beans. So you guys, I am never like, I don't know, like I'll say things and there's pretty much almost always exceptions. Basically, my whole life is the English language. There are exceptions to every quote unquote rule. And so well, not every rule, honestly. There are certain things that are true forever. But anyway, like I was saying, I'm going to change my habit on grinding. That's what it was. So I'm going to hopefully be building a new habit of grinding my own grains into my life kind of slowly. Like I built myself a habit of working with pretty much only dried beans. However, always and forever, my exception is going to be lentils. So I do love lentils, but I don't know if you guys know about like canned lentils or you have experienced them. They tender bits of happiness. Boy, isn't that the truth? There is nothing, like, there is no real resemblance to, I think, fresh cooked lentils and canned lentils. And a lot of times that's like a negative, but for me, it's an overwhelming positive in the favor of canned lentils. They're just like perfect little UFO saucers of gloriousness, which I love to put into my salads, and I just love them. So canned lentils are different for me than just like a regular canned bean. Also, there is no like approved recipe as far as I have found, like with the National Center for Home Food Preservation, for canning your own lentils. I know people do it themselves plenty of times. I am not one of those. Like, I'm nervous enough about canning as it is. I'm not one of those that does anything that's not been tested. Not that I'm trying to be paranoid. I'm just saying, like, there isn't a recipe, but also these cook so quickly, I don't imagine that you would end up with something that's even remotely like this. If you were canning it yourself, it'd probably get super like overcooked. But anyway, there's no resemblance to like cooked from dried lentils and the canned lentils. I feel like they're completely different foods. But anyway, I just love them so much. So I was really excited when I found some organic canned lentils on Azure this month, and I went ahead and bought them. And now, yeah, so that'll be my exception. I have some canned lentils on hand. Okay. Nettle Leaf. I don't know why I just said it like that. Stinging nettles. It's just, you know, if you know, you know. I don't know if I don't have to explain this to the people who are in the know with the nettles. Like, you know, this is basically good for literally almost everything on this earth because it is so deeply nourishing and nutritious. And basically every single one of my nutritious tea blends has nettles as the base. For iron, minerals, all kinds of stuff, but also nettles are really great for seasonal allergies, which is something that we have people in the house who deal with. And so we have a lot of nettle tea going on in our house and we enjoy it. So this is just a really great price. It feels like one time I looked on Azure and the price for the nettles, it was like over $20 a pound. And that was more than or it was like $27 a pound or something really high. But this time they were much less expensive. And so I decided to go ahead and get them from Azure. I do get a lot of my herbs from Mountain Rose Herbs, and I do like them. Their quality is fantastic. The only thing with them is they have a ridiculously long processing time. And so if you run out of something, also the shipping can be really expensive. And so like I'm constantly running out of nettles, and I don't want to make a whole order just to get nettles. Although I also think that this might be a better price than the one at Mountain Rose. But also I just love supporting Azure. So I got it and it's all there and I don't have to think about it now. I have 2 more pounds. Which will hopefully see us through for another, I don't know, few months, half a year, something like that. We go through a lot of this. And then for anybody who's going to tell me just grow it, I live in the desert. Nettles is not a desert plant. It does not grow native here. We don't have it anywhere. I've never found it in the wild, not even like by creek beds. I have not found nettles out here. This is just one of those things that doesn't grow. So unfortunately for me, what's a weed for you is something that I have to purchase. But yeah, it is what it is. And that's what I do. So anyway, moving on. Back here, we've got my 5-pound bag of nutritional yeast. It's just a huge, huge part of our lives. We just do the nooch on everything. For anybody who's not vegan, vegans, a lot of times we refer to this as nooch. That's just how you just call it that. In fact, there's like a little piece of pottery I want that has nooch on the side and I just want it so bad. But anyway, I buy that by the 5-pound bag and I put it in a 2-gallon bucket. So it goes on and in everything. Actually, nutritionfacts.org has been putting out a lot of good stuff recently about just a tiny bit of nutritional yeast, like even an 1/8 to 1/4 teaspoon a day is like drastically prevents things like colds and flus, respiratory illnesses. And so that's some pretty fascinating stuff. So I would urge you go over to nutritionfacts.org. And even if you don't use it already, like just like a little bit of it a day, it's kind of amazing. It does have B12 in it, but I will say, since this is a vegan prepping channel, nutritional yeast has a very short shelf life. And so it is not a long-term solution for a B12 source in, you know, a situation like some bad situation that you might be in. But honestly, for people who wonder about that, oh gosh, this is getting so long. For the most part, you guys know what you're signing up for when you start watching these videos. So for me personally, as a vegan, people they ask me a lot of times about what are your long-term plans for like B12 and things like that. Like in some you know, stuff hit the fan, grid, you know, everything without rule of law, like situation. Like, and my answer is always, if we go like full Mad Max in this world, I don't think that I would be vegan anymore. If I hope that doesn't like burst anybody's bubble or make them upset. For me personally, I prep, and a lot of the reason that I prep is to preserve my ethics for as long as possible, and that includes my veganism. I would like to preserve my veganism for as long as possible in an emergency situation. I think for most of us who prep, one of the things that we think about when we prep is the idea of wanting to preserve our ethics, right? To remain upstanding, honorable, decent people who aren't, you know, doing bad things to get food, which is what basically everybody would do. We all would, you know, like, so we want to preserve our ethics for as long as possible. So for me personally, that is something that is on my mind as a vegan prepper. But no, I have no plans for long-term B12 in like some grid down thing, because I don't think that I would still be vegan in a situation like that if I was even still alive. So anyway, let's get back. Wow. On that happy note, let's get back to the haul. But I did want to show, I have my bucket here just to show you as a quick thing, and I'm going to do a separate little video just showing only this, but as a quick thing, this is my nutritional yeast bucket. So you can see that the last time I filled it was August of 2021, and now I just put a new piece of tape and we're putting June of 2022. So that lets me know that it takes us about 9 to 10 months to go through 5 pounds of nutritional yeast. That may decrease next time because I'm about to start making a whole bunch of cheeses, which I will get to in a second. But yeah, just as an FYI, that's kind of how I keep track. And so now I know for my own self that if I were to purchase 2 5-pound bags of nutritional yeast, that would be well over a 1 year supply. So I know that now because I'm keeping track of it. All right. That's another reason that I like to put the dates on my buckets, so that I can keep track of those things. Because a lot of times you don't know what is a year's supply of this food. And the reason you don't know is because you haven't kept track of it. And I'm totally in there. I'm saying you, like pointing at myself too. So I have started really keeping track of all of this kind of stuff so that eventually I can tell myself, yes, I have a 1 year supply of all of our most used foods, because I know that because I've kept track. Okay, sorry. Moving along. A 5-pound bag of quick rolled oats. I have given in to my family. They prefer this texture. They love instant oat packets, and I am tired of buying instant oatmeal to get them to eat their oatmeal. So I have just surrendered. I've raised the white flag. If this is how you're going to get your oats in you, then this is how you're going to get your oats in you. But I'm going to make our own healthier version of instant oatmeal packets. And then that is also why I purchased the maple sugar, because pretty much the most popular flavor in our house is maple. Is it like maple and brown sugar? I don't remember what it is, but that's always the most popular flavor, is the maple one. So I bought this for being able to make our own instant oat packets with maple sugar. And so that's what that is. I'm giving up. I'm just giving up. Okay. So also I bought obviously some agar powder. So this is for making my cheeses, but also for making little gummies. Like if you've ever seen recipes for elderberry gummies and things like that, a lot of times they use gelatin, and that becomes something that I'm not able to do, but I would still really love to be able to make gummies like that for Sage or for my kids, for any of us, but mainly Sage, I guess, for like kind of going into cold and flu season, although she loves elderberry syrup. But this is just something I want to have on hand, but again, primarily for cheese making. So actually in that vein, I've got quinoa soaking over here, and that's actually getting ready. I need to go ahead and start sprouting it, and then once it's sprouted, it'll turn into Rejuvelac, and that's how I'm going to culture some cheeses that I'm making. I'm trying as hard as I can to get away from almost any store-bought purchased processed thing, and now I'm like, watch, next I'm going to show you something that's like a store-bought processed thing. I'm looking at the table. No, I'm not. It's like I'm looking at you, canned beans. But just because, you know, I do still rely on things like vegan cheeses from the store, and I want to completely cut that off. And so I'm working on starting to make our own cheeses. We do pizza night every night, and so I just need to know that I need to have some cultured mozzarella on hand, and I have recipes for that. A recipe in my Homemade Vegan Pantry by Miyoko Shinner. So this is, now that begs the question, is what I make really cheese? People get testy when you call things cheese or milk if it's not like a dairy-based thing. For me personally, I believe it is truly cheese, because I think that cheese is based on the the culturing, right? The culturing is what turns the milk into cheese. Just like a plant-based yogurt, if you have a yogurt, that becomes yogurt because of the culture, not because of what it originally was. But I guess I'll give people the argument that, you know, plant milks are not truly milk, but I think that that word ends up being used because it's more about the function. We use this thing in our lives the way that you would use milk. So that's, you still use the word milk, even if it's not real milk. Anyway, okay, but yeah, making cheeses. And I've done it before, and it works out really well. They're delicious. They're actually the best cheeses, better than the ones that you can get from the store, but they're more work. So I just have to plan it in and get it done. So next, we have our organic hand sanitizer. This is kind of my highfalutin, expensive hand sanitizer, but I love this one more than any other type I've ever used. It's fantastic, and I keep it in my purse. I like it because it's more natural, but also I love the fact that you end up with the little spray bottle at the end. And so then I use this for just all kinds of things like homemade bug sprays and hairsprays and little things like that. So these are fantastic. So I also buy it kind of with the packaging in mind, especially because apparently these pump bottles are like going out or hard to come by. So anyway, that's that. And I just love it. It's my favorite hand sanitizer, and that's the one I got. Back here, I got my, oh, is this my store-bought process thing? This is a flat of lemon juice. It's organic lemon juice. And so basically it looks expensive on the whole, but lately, I've talked about this before, and even before prices increased, one bottle is the equivalent of 26 to 30 lemons. So even if you get a pretty good deal on lemons, I don't think that you can get as much juice out of those lemons as you do out of these bottles. And so that's what I'm using this for. The only like real disadvantage here is that there's almost no vitamin C, which is, you know, to be expected. It's a heated, pasteurized food, you know, so it's killed all of the vitamin C. You would still be better off, obviously, using fresh lemon juice, but I don't know about you, but my lemon tree does not produce lemons 100% of the year. And so I just get some bottled lemon. But again, this is for me a budget choice for making things like lemonade or adding flavors into our foods, our salad dressing. So many of my recipes call for like a tablespoon of lemon juice. And so, yeah, I just have it on hand for that. And so I don't know, I just sort of wanted to point that out, that this is 26 to 30 lemons. So if you think it's 30 lemons, then this is like the equivalent of 180 lemons of juice right here, just for the ease of math. And so that's actually kind of a deal. And then it's in a shelf-stable format, or shelf-stable form. And so, yeah, I don't know, it's handy. I think lemon juice is always wonderful and handy to have on hand. And then my last two things, you can hear the angels singing, is another couple of pounds of lemon balm. Same kind of thing. We go through a lot of lemon balm, just like Nettles. Lemon balm is just fantastic. I've sung its praises many times for digestion, for stress, for mental acuity. I've joked that this is basically like the college student herb. Like it calms you and helps you remember things better. And it's like just fantastic. So we love lemon balm. I put that into a lot of our teas as well. Lemon balm and nettle together are kind of perfect. And yeah, that is the entire haul. All right, and so those of you who know are probably wondering what's the giveaway this month, because I do secret giveaways in pretty much all of my Azure haul videos. And this month I decided to go with a gift card, and I really hope that that's not super lame, but whoever wins the giveaway this month is going to win a $10 Azure Standard gift card. So my plan is to get this video posted either today or tomorrow. And so that would be the 22nd or the 23rd of June, 2022. I'm looking at my calendar, and I think I will go ahead and let the giveaway be open until next Tuesday, June 28th. I will choose the winner on June 28th. And so basically what you do to enter is just comment down below. Comment anything you want. Say anything about anything you want, except do not say anything about the giveaway. This is a secret. It is a secret for the people who watch, not for the people who are trolling YouTube for giveaways, okay? So the people who actually watch and stick around and watch are entered into the giveaway. So make sure that you have your notifications turned on. And then also just try to mark it in your calendar or put an alarm in your phone to come back on Tuesday and check your comment. So basically, I will respond to your comment on Tuesday, June 28th, with the code phrase, "You're so amazing," and that is your indication that you've won. If you have won, email me at the address I'm putting on the screen. Email me your email address. Well, actually, I would get your email address because you just emailed me. And then I will go through the process of getting a gift card from Azure emailed to you, a $10 gift card. Now, I am really wanting it to be a $10 Azure gift card, but if you can't shop with Azure or don't shop with Azure and you happen to win, still go ahead and email me and we can kind of discuss options at that point. So anyway, yeah, I hope you win. But remember, please don't mention the giveaway, not even like in code, not even like I hope I win, or not any, like, I don't know, just don't say anything. Just comment. Even if all you want to say is, "Oh my gosh, Kathy, you're so beautiful and you've just so enriched my life," or something like that. I mean, I'm cool with that. I'm cool with it. Then you'd win. You'd win so fast. No, I'm kidding. It's going to be a random number generator, no matter how flattering you are. All right. So that's just going to be it for me. I'm going to go ahead and cut this off. It's been long enough already. Hopefully you got something good out of that. You enjoyed it. And I just wish you the best of luck. So as always, I hope the rest of your day is good and your life stays wonderful. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.